India's next vice president. Now, the government has flagged the performance of private sector banks regarding the implementation of financial inclusion schemes. The Finance Ministry told Parliament today that private banks' performance is not commensurate with their presence in the banking sector. Sapna joins us now with the details. Sapna, it's always been public sector banks that have done the heavy lifting as far as financial inclusion is concerned. So it's not entirely new what the Finance Ministry is saying, but what are the details that it's provided?
Well, definitely, it's the details which are the problem. So if you look at the, basic flagship schemes like the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, the participation rate of private sector banks is as low as 3%, which means for every 100, Jan Dhan accounts opened, only 3 accounts have been opened by the private sector banks. And the numbers are really stark. For instance, between March 2020 and March 2025, private sector banks have been able to add only 56 lakh accounts in comparison to the rest of the public sector universe, doing somewhere around almost 17 crore accounts. So, there is a massive gap. Not just this, but even if you look at the Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima, here again the participation rate actually drops to around 2%, which means out of all the enrollments, for every 100 enrollment that has happened, only 2 enrollments have come to the private sector banks. Also in terms of the Suraksha Bima Yojana, that is the non-life component that is given by the government, here the participation rate is 4%. Out of every 100 enrollments, only 4 of them have been done by the private sector banks. Well, the rate improves slightly as far as the Atal Pension Bima Yojana is concerned. So, for instance, less than 10 lakh Atal Pension Yojana subscribers with private sector banks in comparison to the public sector universe, which stands at over 7.6 crore. So these are big differences that we are talking about. I think the government's displeasure has come from, emanates from here. Last but not the least, however, the private sector banks' performance has really improved as far as the Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana is concerned and the standard scheme is concerned. So in the Mudra Yojana, the participation rate by private sector banks is as high as 24%. So out of total sanction amount of around 5.56 lakh odd crore, private sector banks have taken a slice of around 1.73 lakh crore, which is not really too bad. Similarly, in terms of the standard scheme, here again around 3,200 crores worth of sanctions done by the PVBs in comparison, to the rest of the universe being handled by the public sector banks. So here again, the participation rate is around 23%. So on these 2 counts, they have done reasonably all right. But I think it's those basic small schemes that the government is talking about, and that's where the nudge is probably required.
All right, Sapna, appreciate you joining us. Now, in what